What about the reopening of the state of Georgia? Do you agree with the governor's decision to do that? And how's it going so far?
Well, look, I think the governor has taken a very measured, data-driven approach. It seems to be going well so far. And look, I think the president, the governor, and we all have the same goal for Georgians, which is to be safe and to find ways to start to resume some of our normal activities in a new way. And that means by social distancing, wearing a mask, and monitoring the numbers and making sure. I've spent a lot of time with hospitals over the last 2 months, checking in with them continuously, not only in terms of what their needs are, but so that we can make policy decisions. And we see that effectiveness in flattening the curve has played out.
Well, Senator, I know that the virus is not leaving us, even as we get permission to go back out into society. So tell me if this is a correct way to look at it. It's not that the virus is gone, it's just that we are now, and certainly will be, better equipped to test for it and to treat it. Is that right?
That's right, Brad. The goal with flattening the curve was to make sure that we don't overwhelm our hospitals, our frontline healthcare professionals who we rely on to care for us at that moment of illness that requires hospitalization. That is being achieved. However, we're going to be vigilant and continue to watch out for that. So I think the first step is making sure we have good command of the numbers, not just infections and deaths, which are so tragic to see, but hospitalization and ICUs, ventilation usage, testing. Now we're monitoring testing as it continues to rise dramatically in our state. So these are all good metrics that will help us ease back into this when we each deem that it's right for us, while making sure we each take personal responsibility for being safe.
Let's take a look at China, if we can, Senator. Do you think that that country bears any responsibility for this pandemic? And if so, what kind of repercussions might China face?
China absolutely will face repercussions from this. They bear a lot of responsibility, and we're just fortunate that at the very end of January, that President Trump took an unprecedented measure to ban travel from China. Unfortunately, if China had been truthful with us and forthcoming about what the numbers that they were seeing and with their own people, we could have stopped this pandemic before it became a worldwide health emergency. I mean, we are looking at a situation where they prevented travel, within China, but not to other countries. I mean, they have to answer for this. This has not only impacted their economy, but worldwide economy. It's cost lives. I mean, this is something that I felt so strongly about that I wrote the president a letter urging him to hold them accountable in phase 2 trade agreements and to make sure that they deliver on the phase 1 trade agreement that the president fought so hard for to help level the playing field.
Do you think the virus just randomly occurred? Everything seemed to be going so well, economically speaking, especially in our country, before it showed up.
Yeah, look, what happened in Wuhan, whether this came from a lab, whether this came from the wet markets, we've got to get to the bottom of it. China needs to open up to our health officials that need to get in and understand the origins of this virus. But right now, our attention needs to be faced squarely on how do we treat it? How do we get a vaccine? How do we prevent further outbreaks coming out of China? Keep in mind, this is the third outbreak that we've had from China. It's a wake-up call, and we've got to take measures to protect the health of all Americans at this point.